Gilani says, quote, there should be no harm to the Pakistani sovereignty, and the U.S. should understand and appreciate it. But now here's the heart of the matter. The news of Pakistan quotes Chinese diplomatic sources, and the Chinese diplomatic sources say, quote, this is, China has, quote, warned in unequivocal terms that any attack on Pakistan would be construed as an attack on China. Let me repeat that. China has warned the United States, quote, warned in unequivocal terms that any attack on Pakistan would be construed as an attack on China, end quote, say diplomatic sources to the news of Pakistan. And this warning, according to this article in the Times of India, the warning was formally conveyed by the Chinese foreign minister at last week's China-U.S. strategic dialogue and economic talks in Washington. That's an ultimatum. The last explicit ultimatum of the great powers that I can recall is 1956, Nikita Sergeyevich Khrushchev, during the Suez Crisis, issued an ultimatum to Britain and France, stop attacking Egypt or you will be hit by Soviet nuclear-armed IRBMs and SLBMs, that is, short-range and intermediate-range ballistic missiles. The Soviet Union, to my knowledge, never issued any ultimatum against the United States. Never. It looks to me like China has now delivered an ultimatum behind closed doors, but that's, of course, how it works. That's how it worked in July 1914. All the stuff became public later on. Those were telegraph messages, not public speeches. So again, China warned in unequivocal terms that any attack on Pakistan would be construed as an attack on China, says the news of Pakistan, quoting diplomatic sources in Beijing, and I'm looking at an article in the Times of India. That is a very big deal. That is a world historical turning point.
This is Aaron Russo, a filmmaker and former politician. To his left is Nicholas Rockefeller of the infamous Rockefeller banking and business dynasty. After maintaining a close friendship with Nicholas Rockefeller, Aaron eventually ended the relationship, appalled by what he had learned about the Rockefellers and their ambitions.
I got a call one day from an attorney woman I knew, and she said, would you like to meet one of the Rockefellers? I said, sure, I'd love to. And we became friends, and he began to divulge a lot of things to me. So he said to me one night, he said that there's going to be an event there, and out of that event, you're going to see we're going to go into Afghanistan, so we can run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We're going to go into Iraq to take the oil and establish a base in the Middle East, and we're going to go into Venezuela and try and get rid of Chavez. And the first two they've accomplished. Chavez they didn't accomplish. And he said you're going to see guys going into caves looking for looking for people that they're never going to find. You know, he was laughing about the fact that you have this war on terror. There's no real enemy. He's talking about how by having this war on terror, you can never win it because so it's an eternal war, and so you can always keep taking people's liberties away. And I said, how are you going to convince people that this war is real? He says, but the media can convince everybody it's real. I mean, you know, it's just that you keep talking about things, you keep saying it over and over and over again, and eventually people believe it. You know, you created the Federal Reserve in 1913 through lies. You create 9/11, which is another lie. Through 9/11, then you're fighting a war on terror, and now all of a sudden you go into Iraq, which was another lie, and now they're going to do Iran. You know, and it's all one thing leading to another, leading to another, leading to another. Now, I would say, what are you doing this for? What's the point of this thing? You have all the money in the world you ever want. You have all the power. I said, you know, you're hurting people. It's not a good thing. And he would say, what do you care about the people for? Take care of yourself and you take care of your family. And then I said to him, what are the ultimate goals here? He said, the ultimate goal is to get everybody in this world chipped with the RFID chip and have all money be on those chips and everything on those chips. And if anybody wants to protest what we do or violate what we want, we just turn off their chip.
That's right, microchipped. In 2005, Congress, under the pretense of immigration control and the so-called War on Terrorism, passed the Real ID Act, under which it is projected by May 2008 you will be required to carry around a federal identification card, which includes on it a scannable barcode with your personal information. However, this barcode is only an intermediary step before the card is equipped with a VeriChip RFID tracking module, which will use radio frequencies to track your every move on the planet. If this sounds foreign to you, please note that the RFID tracking chip is already in all new American passports. And the final step is the implanted chip, which many people have already been manipulated into accepting under different pretenses. In the end, everybody will be locked into a monitored control grid where every single action you perform is documented. And if you get out of line, they can just turn off your chip, for at that point in time, every single aspect of society will revolve around interactions with the chips. This is the picture that is painted for the future if you open your eyes to see it. A centralized one-world economy where everyone's moves and everyone's transactions are tracked and monitored, all rights removed. The most incredible aspect of all, these totalitarian elements will not be forced upon the people. The people will demand them. For the social manipulation of society through the generation of fear and division has completely detached humans from their sense of power and reality.
When studying ancient warnings, one would find it difficult to overlook writings from the Bible, which shockingly provide warnings of a worldwide devastation and also hint to a pole shift occurring, described as taking place before what most people refer to as Armageddon, a worldwide war for resources and survival.
There was a great earthquake, and the sun became black, and the moon became as blood. Every mountain and island were moved out of their places, and there were voices and thunderings and lightnings. There followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died. There should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened.
This phenomenon is called pole shift, in which the entire mantle of the earth would shift in a matter of days, perhaps hours, changing the position of the North and South Pole, causing worldwide disaster. Earthquakes would rock every continent. Massive tsunamis would inundate coastal cities. It would be the ultimate planetary catastrophe. As unlikely as this theory seems, it is backed by science. Albert Einstein first suggested it in 1955. And a new study from Princeton University reveals that the poles have shifted before. The North Pole rested in the middle of the Pacific, placing Alaska at the equator. Even if this pole shift took place slowly over years, it would result in global climate change and shifting sea levels. If it took place rapidly, it would mean planet-wide disaster and mass extinction of species.
Chief